This Ethan Allen maple writing desk was saved from the trash for my brother and my sister-in-law. Their neighbor had it out on garbage day, so they took it, put it in the garage, and called me. It just so happens that I have been looking for a small desk like this for my own home for a while now. The only problem with this desk is, it's a little bit, the finish is kind of damaged, not too bad though, but I don't like the color. I just feel like it's very dated. And that lacquer on top, just kind of dated looking. I'd love something more natural. So I'm using Green Ease furniture stripper. I've talked about this a lot, this furniture stripper. It does take a little bit longer to work, and I'm not a big fan of it for stripping off paint, but I'm a huge fan of this for stripping off shellac, lacquer, any kind of finish stain. It is fabulous. In comparison to any other furniture stripper, I feel like this has very minimal mess. And I usually am doing my work indoors, so I don't mind using this indoors. It's non-toxic, it's natural. I don't even have to put on gloves. And the fact that there's hardly any mess with it is pretty awesome. It's quite expensive, but I have to say that it's lasted me a really, really, really long time. Like, I've already done about 4 projects with it, and I still have maybe a third of the container left. So I actually think it's worth the price now. And I gave it a review before, and I didn't think it was worth the price or the time, but the more I use it, the more I like it. After washing it down, I decided to give it just one more coat, just a light coat. I let it sit for 2 hours again, and then I stripped it off. Usually when I'm using a paint stripper, I end up doing 2 coats no matter what the paint stripper is, and this is because it just makes sanding so much easier, and I get rid of anything that was left on there and any gunk. I don't want there to be any gunk or weird spots where there's still a little bit of lacquer on there and then other spots where there's not, because I'm going to have uneven sanding. So it's just going to make my life easier if I apply it. It takes about 10 minutes to apply it to the whole thing, and I wait 2 hours, I go do something else, and I come back. Now, once I have it all cleaned up, I wait till the next day and I take it outside. I'm using this tool for the very first time. It sands curves and spindles. I had never heard of this tool before until I started watching a video from today's video sponsor, Woodworkers Guild of America. As a furniture painter or refinisher, having some woodworking skills is a must. Woodworkers Guild of America features a vast collection of woodworking tutorials with topics including finishing, hand tools, gluing and clamping, beginner level, and even advanced level woodworking, and so much more. I've learned how to custom make my own colored stain at home. I've learned simple ways to add veneer onto your furniture, and they even have classes on epoxy and resin. There's a class on how to build a dresser from scratch. This is something I would love to do in the future just to better understand the mechanics of the furniture. Woodworkers Guild of America is always creating new premium videos to keep you coming back for more and to help you stay inspired. As a member, you have access to Woodworkers Guild of America live streaming and Q&As, where expert instructors share tips, answer questions, and engage with the WWGOA community in real time. The first 1,000 of you to click the link in the description box will get a full year premium membership to Woodworkers Guild of America for only $1.49. This little attachment is called a flutter mop. It took me a little bit of time to figure out, to get comfortable with it and figure out how to use it, but you just hook it into your drill and all these little flutters, it's like sanding. This is 120 grit sanding paper. It just gets into all of those weird curves. I would have had a really difficult time sanding this, and it would have took me forever, but with this tool, it was much easier. And check this out. This curve that I really would have had a hard time sanding was just super simple. Now, I used the recommendation from Woodworkers Guild of America, and I bought this from a specialty woodworking store, but I did see them on Amazon for, I think it was even like a quarter of the price that I bought this for. I bought it for $40, but I have seen them for like $13. I'm not sure of the quality of the ones on Amazon, so I just wanted to be safe, and I invested in the one that was $40. But I can already tell I'm going to get a lot of use from just that one flutter mop. Now for the rest of the desk, all the flat areas, I used my Black & Decker mouse And then I just used, instead of buying the Surf Prep sander, I just buy the pads. I'm going to link everything in the description box on where I buy this stuff in case you're interested, but the pad worked really, really well. As you can see, it took, because I did all of that paint stripping first, look at how easy the finish comes off. And I just wanted everything to be nice and uniform, and I didn't want it to look blotchy. What I love most about my mouse sander is it's lasted for years and years and years, and I can get into all the corners really easy. I don't know why, but I have really bad luck with orbital sanders. I have to buy a new one almost every single year. I don't think that's normal. I don't know what that's about. I'm pretty gentle with my tools, so I honestly I don't know what that's about. Let me know if you have that issue too, or is this just me? So then when I'm done, I take the piece inside the house and I need to give it a nice vacuum. So I decided I am going to do a paint wash, and I'm using Country Chic's clay-based paint in the color Driftwood. I just kind of mix it up until I like that the way it feels. I want it to be pretty watery, so I did have to add some more water to it. Now, I chose this color specifically because I feel like it has a little bit of a green tint to it. And that green is going to cancel out some of the orangey red from the maple. I don't want this piece to be cool by any means. I just I don't want it to be as warm as it would pull if I just put a stain on it. And there still is some unevenness in my wood. You know, if I had really taken my time and sanded for, a day or something, then I could get it even. But putting a wash on it is just so much easier. It makes it nice and uniform. It tones it down. It covers most imperfections. And I'm not just leaving this sit on top of the wood. I'm kind of rubbing it in and rubbing most of it off. Like, I don't want it to look like the driftwood. I just am using the driftwood as if it's a toner. I used to be a cosmetologist, so I often think about hair. If you've ever gone blonde, you know about the purple shampoo. Purple cancels out the yellow tones. Green will cancel out the red tones. The blue will cancel out orange tones. So anything that is opposite on the color wheel, if you use something with those tones, you will cancel out what you don't want. And if you're not looking to cancel out that color, just use a tiny bit, water your paint down really, really well. And, if you don't put too much, because I still want it to be warm. So I'm using it very, very watered down. As you can see, I'm going to use my water sprayer, and I am spraying it even after it's on because I don't want there to be a lot of the paint on the piece. I want this piece to look super, super, super natural. Now I want to seal this piece, and because I don't want a bunch of tannins to come through, I'm using a flat clear coat. This is by Dixie Belle Paint Company. It's one of my favorites, and it's super easy to use. I have noticed when I use the flat, I don't get hardly any streaking, so I don't have to be like extra careful, and I don't have to use my sprayer to avoid streaks because with the flat, I don't really get them. I think when you use a satin, it can deepen the color, but when you're using flat, it pretty much, you're staying true to the color that you applied. And it is my favorite if you don't want those tannins to leak through. I can't say then promise that they will never leak through, but your best bet is to use a flat clear coat when you're trying to avoid tannins in a wash. Now for the hardware, I did a vinegar bath, just a little bit of water, a thing of vinegar, and I left it overnight. I totally forgot that I was missing one of the knobs, but luckily I did have some extra knobs from another project. You remember what we started with? Here it is today. I have to say, I really, really, really love how it turned out. Using the wash on natural wood, it's like one of those trust the process kind of things. You just have to, by the time you put the clear coat on, everything comes together. I do have the stool that goes with this. I just have to decide how I'm going to reupholster it, and I will do a video on that. Thank you, Woodworkers Guild of America, for sponsoring this video, and let me know what you guys think. Do you like it before or after?